Satoshi NerdQaxe plus Rev 7. Home setup. Now we mine. Plug in by the desk. Stack sats in the quiet. Solo at the house. Keep the whole block private. Solo Satoshi NerdQaxe plus Rev 7. Stacking sats at home. Solo Satoshi Nerd.
What's up, everybody? My two sats from the Home Mining Podcast and Solo Satoshi here to tell you some amazing news. The Rev 7, the NerdQaxe Rev 7 is on the way. And depending on when you watch this video, it may have been officially released. That's exciting for many home miners. And the headline here is not a new chip. It's not new chassis. The headline here is power delivery. This is the revision where the quad chip NerdQaxe finally gets the electrical headroom it has always wanted and needed. Now, at stock, the Rev 7 still runs 4 Bitmain BM1370 ASICs at about 4.8 terahashes per second on 69.5 watts. But the real story is what happens when you push this thing past stock. And we know you love to overclock. And after about a year with the Rev 6.1 being tested in homes all around the world, we found a few ways to make things even better. And that's all being brought to life with the NerdQaxe Revision 7. So here's the whole story in 5 facts. Rev 7 gets a new voltage regulator. The firmware ceiling rises from 800 megahertz to 1000 megahertz, and the best efficiency tier is at 700 megahertz. The included power supply becomes the limit above 800 megahertz, and in burn-in testing, the unit held up to 8.14 terahash per second for about a week. And the caveat here is that the thermal paste was swapped from Polartherm, which is the stock default paste, to Thermal Grizzly Cryo Not Extreme for testing purposes. So this is not just a cosmetic revision. This is an entire device unlock. It's a whole new level of what's possible with the NerdQaxe++. The old limitation with these devices was not in the ASICs. The earlier revisions, the NerdQaxe++ Rev 6 boards used a 3-phase voltage regulator, and that regulator worked really, really well at stock settings and with moderate overclocks, but at sustained higher frequencies, especially in warm rooms, tight airflow, it could run short on thermal margin. So in plain English, when the board was just pushed too hard for long enough, the power stage became the weak point. And the Rev 7 was actually built to solve that exact failure mode across the board. So what actually changes between the Rev 6 and the Rev 7? The major hardware change is the move to the 2-phase regulator layout. And this regulator has already been proven in the BitX GT. And Rev 7 adapts it for the quad chip NerdQaxe++ platform. The engineering logic is quite simple. The new design delivers the same power to all 4 ASICs using half the current at twice the voltage. Less current means less resistive heating. Less heating means better thermal behavior. And cleaner power delivery means more stable operation when the load changes. So Rev 7 also reads VRM temperature directly from the regulator using the PM bus telemetry. So instead of estimating from a nearby board sensor, the board reports the real regulator temperature directly. This is where the redesign starts to show up in the numbers, and you can see everything laid out nicely for you here in this slide. The Solo Satoshi benchmarked Rev 7 across 9 frequency tiers, from 600 megahertz all the way up to 1000 megahertz, which is the firmware ceiling. Now, testing was done at 73 degrees Fahrenheit ambient temperature with factory cooling plus a Noctua NF A8 rear fan. The measured curve runs from about 4.8 terahash per second at stock to 8.1 terahash per second at the top end. That's exciting. That's nearly double. Now, power moves from 69.5 watts up to 140 watts. The important point here, 800 megahertz is no longer your ceiling. On the Rev 7, it becomes the midpoint. All right, let's talk about the efficiency sweet spot. If you care about efficiency, pay close attention to 700 megahertz. At 700 megahertz, the Rev 7 produces 5.7 terahash per second at about 82 watts. That works out to 14.39 joules per terahash. And this is the best efficiency point in the published test range so far. So if your goal is a practical daily driver setting and not just a maximum overclock, 700 megahertz is the sweet spot. This is the tier to watch and test and probably run your device at for longevity. It gives a strong hash rate bump over the Rev 6.1 while keeping the efficiency excellent. Now, here is the practical warning. The included 124 watt power supply becomes the bottleneck above 800 megahertz. The blog notes, and you can find this blog on the Soul Satoshi website and the Substack. The blog notes that the supply's 80% continuous rating is about 99.2 watts. At 850 megahertz, the board draws 108 watts. That means 150 megahertz crosses the practical continuous limit of the included PSU. So if you plan to run above 800 megahertz, treat an upgraded power supply as part of the setup that you're going to need. We sell mean wells on the Soul of Satoshi website, so going with a mean well would be your best bet for an upgraded power supply if you plan on overclocking these past the 800 megahertz. Now, the board has the headroom now that it did not have before, but the rest of the system still has to keep up, and that's where your power supply upgrade will come in. So, a benchmark is useful, but sustained load is the real proof. How long can this thing go and maintain? Soul Satoshi ran a Rev 7 unit in testing at the full 1000 megahertz firmware ceiling through burn-in for 1 week. The result was 8.14 terahash per second for that week with 0 crashes and 0 thermal throttling. That's really exciting progress. Hash rate stayed within 0.25% of the expected 8.16 terahashes per second. The regulator stabilized at 74 degrees Celsius, and the ASICs held at 67.4 degrees Celsius. So at full tilt, Rev 7 still had roughly 76 degrees of regulator temperature margin. That is the difference between a quick overclock and a platform that can actually hold the load in a sustained manner. Let's look at the thermal map now. So on this slide, you'll see that we have a thermal map laid out, and the thermal story is just as important as the hash rate story. The ASIC target holds around 60 degrees Celsius through 850 megahertz. The VRM stays under 60 degrees Celsius through 800 megahertz. Past that, the limiting factor actually starts to shift. So at 900 megahertz, the fan reaches 100%. Above that point, temperatures rise because the cooling system has no more fan speed to give. We're already at 100% there. So Rev 7 removes the old regulator bottleneck. But at the top end, cooling and power supply quality matter more than ever. Cooling upgrades aren't just cosmetic here. With the full copper heatsink upgrade, the same 1000 megahertz run dropped ASIC temperatures by 6 degrees Celsius. It also dropped VRM temps by 2 degrees Celsius and reduced power draw by 4.8 watts. So efficiency improved from 17.49 to 16.93 joules per terahash here. That matters because cooler silicone has lower electrical resistance. Better cooling can lower temperatures and improve efficiency at the same time. To understand why Rev 7 matters, we need to look at the platform arc here. Revision 5 was the foundation, about 4.8 terahash per second at stock, but with power path limits for the barrel jack, the fuse, and the older regulator design, it had some issues. Revision 6.1 improved that power path by adding a 15 amp XT30 connector, removing the fuse, and that just improved the practical overclocking experience. But we still face some issues with the voltage regulator when more than mild overclocking was placed on the device. Revision 7 keeps the improvement going from 6.1, but finally has redesigned the power delivery itself. So the VREG is not the limiting factor as it was in the previous revisions. So a simple summary for that is that Rev 6 fixed the connector and killed the fuse, removed the fuse, but the Rev 7 fixes the regulator. Let's look at the spec punch line list here. The key numbers. This is what everybody loves to nerd out on. Stock, 600 megahertz, 4.8 terahash per second, 69.5 watts, and 14.48 joules per terahash. The efficiency tier is 700 megahertz, 5.7 terahash per second, 82 watts, and 14.39 joules per terahash. The old ceiling, which was 800 megahertz, on Rev 7, that tier now produces 6.5 terahash per second at 94 watts, with the VRM staying under 60 degrees Celsius. And the full table tops out 1,000 megahertz at 8.1 terahash per second for 140 watts and 17.28 joules per terahash. So what should you as a prospective buyer know about the Rev 7? Rev 7 begins shipping out hopefully around the 3rd week or the 4th week of June. Each unit is assembled, tested, and firmware flashed in the USA. Once live, orders placed before 12 p.m. Central ship the same day from the great state of Texas. As noted on our blog, a 90-day warranty will be in effect, and pricing will range from somewhere around $258 to $306, depending on the configuration. But those numbers are not public and not final as of yet. So the message for you as a prospective buyer is straightforward. This is a tested, assembled platform with a new power delivery system already built in, ready to overclock, and ready to give you best-in-class performance at home. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this run through of what you can expect with the all-new Revision 7 NerdQaxe++. I think the takeaway is really simple. This Revision 7 is not just a cosmetic update. It's a complete redesign of the power delivery system and eliminating a lot of the limitations that the previous revisions had. It's going to give you quad chip performance, more voltage headroom, better thermal visibility, a higher firmware ceiling, and sustained 1000 megahertz performance with the upgraded power supply. For efficient daily use, we suggest sticking around 700 megahertz at that sweet spot. But for max performance, 1000 megahertz is now realistic with the right power supply and cooling. And for the evolution of open source Bitcoin mining hardware, Rev 7 is the moment where the power system finally catches up with the ambition of the board. So be ready to get your hands on this exciting new revision as soon as it hits the Solo Satoshi store. You can use the link in the description here to snag yourself that and support the podcast and our content creation. The link will be left in the description. Hope you've enjoyed this deep dive into everything that's new with the Rev 7. This has been 2 Sats for Soul Satoshi, and I'll see you in the next one.